Do you believe that? Okay, I'm excited to be here today and tell you about my story. I was very, very sick, and I was in the hospital for 10 days. And they ran all kinds of tests and turned me every which way but up and down and couldn't find out what was wrong with me. But they decided to go in laparoscopically and find out. So I woke up from the surgery, and he said that my bowel had ruptured, and it was from diverticulitis. And if you know anything about diverticulitis, it's caused by poor diet, lack of water, maybe lack of exercise. They think, they're not sure. Anyway, so they took out 14 inches of my bowel, gave me a temporary colostomy bag, and sent me home unsewed because I had peritonitis. So anyway, then he said, we'll do this all again in 8 weeks and reverse it. So I went home, and for 8 weeks I'm at home getting well, and I actually did very good because when all this happened, I was going to Weight Watchers, and I had lost 62 pounds, and I was close to my goal. But anyway, then I went back and reversed it, and I actually did good. But I went back to work, and I was a very busy mother, wife, caregiver, and postmaster. I had 500 people in the post office, a 15-year-old son who didn't drive, and a mother who was 82 and didn't drive. And we lived 15 miles from a grocery store. So, and I had a long-suffering husband who once in a while got a little attention. But he asked me to tell you how proud he is of me. And I'm proud of him for sticking through me through thick and thin. But anyway, so I went back to work, and I don't have any help. And I'm trying to lift all the mail. And at some point, I get hernias. We don't know how many hernias. It's from the peritonitis. So I put it off and put it off, but then it became an emergency, and I go back in another surgery. Well, the bowel pinched off again through one of the hernias. I have 5 hernias, and they take out my gallbladder. So then I'm at home, and sometime during this, he can't get the wound to close. And he could see one of the hernias didn't take, so he pulls out the mesh. And they put a wound vac on me. And if you know anything about a wound vac, it lacks $6,000. I mean, it lacks $30 to be at $6,000 a month. And I had 8 months. So I went through 4 surgeries, $13,000 out of pocket, all kinds of pain, and then they made me retire from the post office. So anyway, then I'm at home, and I'm depressed, and I'm eating, and I'm getting this big. So I decided I needed to go back to Weight Watchers, but we're in the middle of moving to Amarillo. So it took me a while to come, and when I came back, I was lucky to get Melba for my leader. And in my opinion, she's the world's best.
You're sweet.
So anyway, then I knew I needed to have a healthy BMI, and that would be 150 pounds. Well, I'd never met anybody that lost 150 pounds. So I didn't know if I could do it. And I'm almost 62, and I don't know if I could do it. But I just decided to try. And I decided to not think about the big number, and I just concentrate on each week. And then I began to have success. And then the success feeded on itself. And I began to change my routines. I now exercise every morning because I found that if I exercise in the morning, I have the energy that I need. And then it's out of the way, and I don't have to worry if I'm going to miss it. And I always have frozen vegetables in the freezer because I don't want any excuse why I can't eat my vegetables in my freezer. And I ran into a friend of mine the other day, and he didn't recognize me. And he said, at the end of our conversation, he said, well, don't get mad at me, but next time I'll recognize you. But he said, you know, you are half the woman you used to be. And so I weigh 137 now, and I've lost 150 pounds. And this is the coat that I used to wear. It's the only piece of garment that I saved. And you can see I need petites, but they don't come in a 26. Not very often. Let's see.
You can literally wrap it around you.
Yeah, that
And this is all the jewelry that I received. It's all my jewelry from Weight Watchers. I went back to my doctor recently, and it was at the point I'd lost 140. And he had told me before that he was not going to attempt to repair this other hernia. He said, I'm not touching you again. I said, what if I lose 100 pounds? And he said, we'll talk about that then. So I'm sure he thought there was no way he was seeing me again. And I went to see him, and he didn't know who I was. He said I knew the name, but I did not know the person. Anyway, he told me because the mesh is better now, and I've lost so much weight, we can try to fix my hernia. So I have one more surgery to do. But I'm just so happy, and I can't tell you, my life is so much better. There were so many things before that, some of them were funny and some of them were downright embarrassing. My husband and I walked in the woods once in New Mexico looking at the leaves, and I fell onto some slick leaves and fell down. And I just knew that we were going to have to get a crane to get me up. But anyway, I can wear petite clothes again. I'm happy again, and I'm thankful about tomorrow and hopeful about tomorrow. And I read something the other day, and it said, if your dream is not big enough that it scares the dickens out of you, it's not big enough. And my dream is to finish my surgery and hopefully one day become a Weight Watchers leader.
Yeah, she's going to be a leader. Won't she be a good one? Good. Give her a hand.
Okay. Anybody have questions?
And
It took me 28 weeks.
Because you lifted your wings and flew to heights you didn't think you could, I am proud of you, okay? Give her a hand.
And I wouldn't
Weeks to lose 150 pounds.
do what?
28 weeks to lose 100.
No, I mean, it's 28 months, excuse me. 28 months.
28 weeks we couldn't have featured her because that's
I meant to say months. I lost 1.2 pounds a week is what I averaged. And